if I stop by a organizer and I tell him to inflate my tie, he's supposed to inflate it to a certain PSI. So the pressure that the organizer is putting in my tie, how sure am I that it's exactly that PSI that I'm looking for? So if I drive my car over and I see that the gauge of the organizer is calibrated, then I'm sure that whatever he's putting in is the right amount of air that the tie is supposed to get. Otherwise, I'm in trouble, because the tie can be overinflated, and then it can just burst whilst I'm driving and cause a lot of accidents. So these are some of the things that our services is supposed to help society. So it is not only in the food products, but then also in the pressure, in electricity, we need to know that we are getting value for money. This is Csir-Iir, Institute of Industrial Research, the Metrology Division. It's a service division, and what we basically do is calibration, repair, and maintenance. So we have 5 labs that we do our calibration in. So we work in 5 areas: mass, temperature, acoustics, electricity, and pressure. In addition to that, we have a maintenance and repairs section that does repairs and maintenance of scientific equipment. So if you bring your equipment for calibration and there's a problem with it, we have the capacity to be able to repair the equipment, and then after the repair, then we send it to the calibration labs for calibration. So that is basically what we do at the Metrology Division. Every year we have metrology training for institutions, for any tertiary institutions, or even graduates who are interested. So we do it for the labs in the universities, and then we target labs in industry, and then the hospitals. So we have a lot of them coming here. Last year we had some people from 37 Military Hospital, we had some from the Tema General Hospital, and then we had some from GAEC Atomic, yes, also joining us for the calibration. And then Noguchi also sent some people in for the training. Once in a year, we do training for lab technicians to show them the basic principles of calibration, so that they'll be able to calibrate intermittently the equipment that they are using before they call us to come for the annual calibration. The Metrology Division is actually a backbone to our quality infrastructure in the country. So if you are doing any measurements or any product that you are doing, and it involves measuring, whether it has to do with weight, whether it has to do with temperature, whether it has to do with pressure, electricity, sound, then you are confident that if I calibrate your equipment and you are using it, then you are confident that if anybody takes it in any other country and they use it, it is within certain specifications and is accepted internationally. So that is what we do here at the Metrology Division. We have accreditation for 2 of our labs. So we have accreditation to ISO 17025 for our mass and temperature calibration labs. So if you have any equipment like a balance, you have a thermometer, a pressure gauge, an audiometer, a multimeter, you bring it here for calibration. For temperature calibration, what we actually do is calibration of thermometers, thermal resistant thermometers, those are RTDs, and then the platinum resistant thermometers, liquid in glass. We do ovens, we do fridges and freezers, we do autoclaves, any scientific equipment that is used for measurement in temperature. So if it's an infrared thermometer, those are the things that we do the calibration for in the temperature lab. So if you come to mass calibration, what we calibrate is the balances, and then the weight sets. So we have some labs that actually work with a lot of balances, and they have standard weight sets that they use for the calibration of their balances. So if they have those weight sets, we do the calibration of the weight sets as well as the balances. And then we also do volume calibration in the mass lab. So if you have pipettes and burettes, measuring cylinders, those are the things that we calibrate at the mass lab. Then we can move on to the pressure lab. So if you have any pressure gauges, that is what we do at the pressure lab. It's solely for pressure gauges. And then for electricity, we do multimeters, power meters, any equipment that is used for electricity measurements. That is what we cover. And then we have acoustics. That is the measuring sound. So if you have a sound level meter, you have an audio meter. The hospitals especially, they use audio meters. So these audio meters, you bring them for calibration here. The measurements we do is to assure you that if you are using your equipment and you give somebody a result, then you are confident in the results that you are giving the person. So if you want to be confident of the things that you are churning out, then you have to make sure that you meet certain standards. An example, if you are selling frozen foods or you are using a fridge to sell any of your products, the products are supposed to be maintained within certain temperature levels. So you need to be sure that those temperature levels are maintained. So if you are using, whether it's a fridge or a freezer, there are certain temperatures that the Food and Drugs Authority will mandate you to keep for those freezers and fridges. So you do the calibration to be able to ascertain that that is the temperature that you are keeping within these fridges and then the freezers. So that any product that you have in there, if it is wholesome, then people can buy it, being confident that you are keeping it well, so that when they eat it, there will be no other repercussions from it. This is just an example of how customers will benefit from the work that we do. So if I go to a cold store and I'm going to buy chicken, I just buy with the assumption that the chicken is wholesome. But how do I know that really it's wholesome? So if I come to your cold store, being in this field, the first thing I check is if you have a calibration sticker on your fridge or a freezer and the date of calibration. If I check and I see that sticker, I know your fridge or freezer has been calibrated. So I'm sure you are keeping the chicken that I'm coming to buy in such a state that if I buy it, I would not have any issues with it. So that is the benefits that the customers will get from our services. So if I go to a shop and they are selling me anything that they are weighing, I have to be sure that their weighing scale is calibrated, because I use standards to be able to check that if I'm measuring 1 kg, it's exactly 1 kg and nothing else. So if you want to remain in trade and be relevant, then you need to adhere to certain international practices. So if you are selling or coming up with a product and you want it to be internationally accepted, it means you can export it to other countries and have no problem with it. So you need to make sure that all the measurements that you are making, you are using equipment that are calibrated. If the equipment are not calibrated, you are not sure of the quality that you are churning out. So to be able to assure your customers of the value that you are giving to your product, all your equipment that you are using, if it's a production line that you have, all the equipment that you are using needs to be calibrated. So if you have it calibrated, then you are assured that the product you are churning out meets international specifications and you can be able to export it to other countries without any problem. Our services are very affordable as compared to our competition. So if you come to CSR, we give you a minimum of 5 working days to be able to give you to do your calibration, give you your certificates, and then everything within a week. That is the assurance that we give our customers, and that is how come we have a lot of them coming back to us year in, year out. So we are very dedicated to our work. We do not play with our work. And because of the accreditation status of the labs, we have procedures that we stick to. We cannot go contrary to the procedures. So those are the things that we assure our customers of. Because we have the accreditation, they are also sure that our procedures and everything is up to the international standard and will be able to deliver. Most of the CSIR institutes, like the Food Research Institute, the Water Research, any of our institutes that have labs, we do the calibration for them. We work for Luboil, we work for Gapoha, the hospital, and then we also work for Noguchi Memorial. Any organization that deals in measurements, industry mostly, and then we have restaurants, hotels, these cold stores that are around. We have medical laboratories, the universities that have labs, the hospitals, the schools, science laboratories. They have a lot of equipment there that they use for measurements. We give better service to our clients as compared to other labs that are working in the same field. So if anybody comes to you for calibration, the first thing they ask you is if you are accredited, because that is key. It means that if you calibrate for the person will be able to sell their product on the international market. So those are the things that we assure our customers of. Then they are sure of getting value for money from us.